it's just, who you listen to is really important because there is so many shysters in this space. Honestly, anyone on this list, other than maybe the person who got 10th, like they're probably a good person to follow, listen to, gain some wisdom from.
Hey, Modern Commerce, it's your boy Casey back with John Coyle. Today we've got a fun episode for you. We are going to be rating marketing gurus. Who can you trust? Who can't you trust? But more specifically, like who do we just vibe with, more so. So we've got some criteria we're going to be judging these 10 marketers on, these marketing gurus. We're going to be judging based off how good or relevant their advice is to e-commerce marketers. That's one. The next criteria is how good is their own self-promotion? Do they get themselves out there in a great way? And number 3 is just how much we vibe with them again. So like kind of how much we enjoy them personally, or how much we kind of pick up what they're laying down, if you will. Then we'll kind of blend that together into one like overall score, and we'll see what we kind of come out with. We didn't spend a lot of time preparing for this one, I'll be honest with you. So could be fun. John, what do you think about what we got going on for this episode?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, there's a chance that some people will see it and not like it, because we tried to do, like gurus that if you're, because the show's kind of about e-commerce mainly, but it's e-commerce marketing and just marketing in general is like, it's not like if you're an e-commerce marketer, you like a lot of the principles just apply across whatever vertical or business type. So, there are some people here that we're trying to be relevant, to what e-commerce marketers, e-commerce operators, business owners, whatever, might be seeing right now. Like they might be seeing this person a lot, or they might be hearing about this person. And so there are some of them that we don't necessarily think super highly of, so I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
All right.
Maybe controversial, maybe not.
Maybe. You never know what's really going to happen on our episodes, honestly. We don't ever know what's going to happen.
We don't know ahead of time.
It's impossible for anybody else to know.
Yeah.
So before we get into the meat and potatoes, I got to address the elephant in the room. My backgrounds have been pretty plain, people are saying. So I got this new electronic tree. Hope you all enjoy this fake bonsai over here. But seriously, before we actually dive into the meat and potatoes here, I think it's going to be interesting how this goes, because we kind of use separate platforms. John.
Yeah. So that's actually like a really good point. What we were the place we started from, and I think we kind of included some guys who are like, internet marketing legends or godfathers or like well-known internet marketers or whatever. But the place we started from is like, who are we seeing a lot of ads from, right? Because that's probably who other people are seeing a lot of ads from as well. And very interesting, the different people we came up with and the different, like, because you're a YouTube user, like you're big on the YouTube platform, you use that a lot. I mean, everybody uses YouTube to a degree, but like I first go to in my thinking Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
And I'm seeing in the feeds there. So yeah, definitely will be interesting to see our different takes on people based on the different platforms that we use.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. So let's dive right on into it. We're already a couple minutes in here. This first guy, I'll be quite frank, I don't know a ton about. John just kind of brought him to light for me. Did a quick Google search, looked at some book titles and whatnot, but I'll let John go ahead and describe him a little bit more in depth. First up, we got Seth Godin. John, go.
Yeah, so Seth Godin is one of the ones I was talking about where I was like, we should probably bring him in as kind of one of the like, forefront godfathers of digital marketing. I mean, certainly not marketing. Marketing's been around forever, even direct response marketing, but digital marketing. So Seth Godin, the book I believe that put him on the map, one of his first books was called Permission Marketing back in 1999. So 22 years ago at this point. Permission marketing, Casey, was about this crazy new thing where you could get people to give you their email address, and then you could send them emails promoting things that you could sell, and they could buy those things online that you could email them about. And back then, you probably didn't even need to get them to give you their email. You could probably just straight up like, I don't know, there's probably like white pages for email addresses back then. But yeah, that was what permission marketing was about. Actually, no, it was specifically about them getting you to opt into that, like as opposed to going and just scraping email addresses. Permission marketing was about like having some kind of lead magnet or reason that they were opting in. Back then you could just have a newsletter and people would be like, oh, an email newsletter, I'll opt into that so I can hear you've got mail when I get online. And then you could sell them things or ideas or whatever, get them to follow you via your newsletter, which is so funny because like newsletter, there's been like probably since like 2018, like some email newsletter companies that have launched. So it's like, yeah, back in 1999, this really worked when we went through like a 15-year period where people were like, I don't want your stupid newsletter. And now people are like, oh yeah, a newsletter company. So yeah, that was kind of what put Seth Godin on the map. And then he's written tons of books on marketing, especially in the digital age, because that was kind of how he got started. And yeah, so I'll grade him. I'll go first on our criteria. How good and relevant is the advice to e-commerce marketing? He doesn't specifically talk about e-commerce, but he has consulted on a lot of products. And today, now what he's up to is he's doing something a little bit more at the business level, not necessarily specifically about marketing. But I think he has some really good books that are helpful for e-commerce marketing. All Marketers Are Liars is a good one. Linchpin is a good one. It's not specifically about marketing, but it's just one of his better books. This is Marketing is a good one. And The Practice is good. Those are some of his more recent books, especially for The Practice, really good if you're more on the creative side of e-commerce marketing. And then one of my favorites, just the title alone is just a fantastic title for a marketing book. The title of the book is Free Prize Inside Your Next Big Marketing Idea. So yeah, like I would say that there's a lot of like general advice that's good for marketers, but it's not so specific to e-commerce or physical products or anything like that. And it's very general. It's more like sharpening your tool belt as a marketer. His own self-promotion, I would say I'm going to dock him in this category. He doesn't self-promote not much. He doesn't need to at this point. But so I'm going to give him a like a B in the category of like relevancy to e-commerce marketing. I'm going to give him a C in the category of self-promotion. And then I'm going to like how much I vibe with him. You can probably tell I vibe with him a lot. I really like his advice. He's one of the first people I listened to when I got into marketing. So I'm going to give him an A in that category. So overall blended grade from me is probably a B for Seth Godin.
All right, man. I took off my glasses because I look like a serial killer with the reflection of my screen. The only thing you can see on them. So
serial killer on YouTube, man. Like,
what's that?
Can you say serial killer on YouTube? We could just say whatever we want.
I just did. We'll see if it flies.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, yeah, Seth Godin. I'm kind of inclined to just kind of default to your thoughts here on this guy. But I mean, you didn't go too crazy one way or the other. A nice rounded out score with a B overall. I will say that, I like his vibe. So that A, I'm like, yeah, I can dig that. And I like that you gave him some credit how relevant he is to e-commerce marketers, even though he's not specifically talking about that, just because, I mean, you got to give him a little bit of the historical benefit of the doubt, right? Like, I mean, it sounds like this guy's been around a while, so it's like I was
talking about getting opt-in email addresses and email marketing people first. He wrote a book about it because that was like the only way to get that information to people at the time.
So he might not have the most like relevant current like kind of tactical stuff going on, but like he's into the philosophy and like the psychology of like kind of collecting that lead, and he knows how to get what he wants, I guess, for people. So all right, we're cool with that. I got those scores kind of logged here on our behind the scenes sheet. All right, so next up, without further ado, we might have to go a little quicker on these guys as we go. We got 10 of them. So Tai Lopez, the Tai Lopez.
The Tai Lopez. It's like the Ohio State.
That's true. That's
yeah, Tai Lopez. Let me go in reverse order with him.
Sure.
He gets an F in how much I vibe with him. I can't stand him. But credit where credit's due. His own self-promotion is good. Good with a trailing ud, I suppose. Very like blitzy, right? So like when Tai Lopez is going to promote something, which isn't always, but when Tai Lopez has something to sell, you know about it, man. Like you cannot avoid the guy. He will get you ever. So very, very blitzy, which is effective. And to be blitzy in like sprints like that, like when you basically I'm launching something, I'm going to blitz it like in the pre-launch and stuff like that. It's a good strategy. And we know this, and that actually is very relevant for e-commerce marketers. If you're about to drop a product, if you're about to launch a brand, don't just like, oh yeah, I have the product, now I'm going to start running ads. Like you got to blitz in the pre-sale phase. Collect opt-ins, like hype it, like get people more involved and familiar with your brand. So when that product drops, it just like hits right away. So yes, I will actually give him a nod on relevance to e-commerce marketers if you look at that strategy of pre-sale blitzing. If you actually listen to the advice and stuff that he says, I'm going to give him a B in the category of self-promotion, because I don't think his messaging is particularly good. I just think his strategy of blitzing is good. And I question how much he has to do with that, whether that's him or his team. So not an A, a B there. And then in the category of like relevancy to e-commerce marketers, I'm giving him a C. It would be worse, except for you can take something from that strategy of blitzing. I'm going to give him a C here because he doesn't really say anything that profound. And he doesn't even really like talk about marketing all the time. Like he sold some crypto stuff for a while. Like he just sells whatever people are like, you know, is hot right now. So, yeah, and that's part of why he doesn't vibe with me. You can probably tell from my tone, I'm not like the biggest Tai Lopez fan. So I don't know. He's a point of contention amongst people. Some people are like, the fact that we're talking about him proves it. Yeah, that's why I'm giving him a B in self-promotion. Like the fact we're talking about him does prove he's doing something right. But yeah, his advice is mostly generic. And yeah, I wouldn't like follow him as your guru if you're like trying to sharpen your sword, you know?
So again, I'm not going to be in disagreement with you too much on here. I would maybe be a little bit more favorable on the like self-promotion. I mean, that dude is everywhere. So yeah. I'm not saying I'd go all the way A, but maybe like a B plus, a little bit more. I think an outright F is pretty harsh, but maybe, I mean, we haven't really set any curves yet. I don't really know how we're going to go about this.
F is my personal, like F is how much
right.
I vibe with an F. Like I do not vibe with it.
Right. So I might hedge to like a D minus there, but again, it kind of all like kind of works out with how relevant his advice is to e-commerce marketers. I mean, I think you said a C for that. That seems almost like generous, honestly, because you kind of like cross that over with the self-promotion. You're like, well, if you look at the way he promotes himself, so I probably would have gone more like C minus, maybe even like D plus on that one. So I think we kind of worked out to about the same. I'm gonna toss out like an overall score here based off of what we said, and you tell me if this like resonates with you. I'm gonna say like C minus.
Yeah, C minus, maybe D, you know.
Ooh, let's give him a D plus then, if we're going to do that.
Give him a D plus, but yeah, basically the only thing you should glean from him is the strategy of blitzing in a pre-sale phase is definitely effective, and you should do that as an e-commerce brand.
All right, we're going to keep this train chugging right along. Quick recap, we got Seth Godin, overall grade of a B. Tai Lopez, overall grade of a D plus so far. This is going to get wild. This is going to be crazy. But next up, another one. We're kind of heavy here at the beginning with some guys that you recommended. I wish I knew more about him. Definitely not completely unaware of this guy. But Frank Kern. John, why don't you give us a little bit of background on what you know about Frank Kern?
Yeah, Frank Kern. So some people actually might be familiar with the person who he's partnered with most recently, which is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, I wouldn't put in the marketing gurus category specifically because he is like he's definitely heavy marketing, but specifically because he's like billed as more of a sales guru. Like he plays in the sales guru category.
Right. Yeah, I'm aware of Grant Cardone. So
right, yeah. So I'm not putting him in the marketing guru category. So I'm going to put Frank Kern in the marketing guru category because that was like the partnership was like marketing guru, partners with sales guru, right? So yeah, that's maybe if you look at Kern Cardone, I think they launched an agency. So Frank Kern is like one of the guys who he's an internet marketer who teaches people internet marketing so he can sell them internet marketing products. And I don't know that he sells anything besides internet marketing products. Aside from that, like despite that, I'm going to go in reverse order again and say that I actually vibe with him on a B level. Like I like him. I like his messaging. I like the stuff he says, but it's because I'm like somebody who listens to what people like. I'm not someone who has to like tactically hear, like, you should do this, or you need to be doing this, or like some people are like that. They really like, just give me the tactics of what I need to be doing right now. If you can like kind of teach me more of like a principal level thing, it will inspire some like tactical things I can do for some of my brands and clients. So yeah, that's why I vibe with him on a B level, because his advertising and here I'll even go into the next category here. I vibe with him on a B level because of his self-promotion, and I'm going to give him a good grade in his self-promotion, but I will say that I'm biased here because I like his self-promotion because it's very highly informational, right? Like he gives a lot away for free in just his ads. Like if you don't even opt into his webinars or anything, if you do get on his webinars, he gives a lot away for free. And like most of them do, you know, they try and give you lots of aha moments, but I think he does a better job of it than others. You know, I think the way that he communicates and says things and what he says gives you a lot more like fuel for your fire for free than a lot of them. So that's kind of why I like him. Like I give him a nod in that category of internet marketers who sell internet marketing things to other internet marketers because I think he does it in a more genuine and better way than a lot of them. So I'm going to go B on vibe. I'm going to go we'll say B on self-promotion. A lot of people would say his isn't as effective as some of the other people we have on our list, which I won't argue with, but I just like it more. And then I'm going to give him, in terms of advice, yeah, I'm gonna say C for e-commerce because he doesn't really talk a lot about e-commerce. A lot of his stuff definitely is geared toward people who are going to sell courses and probably people who are going to sell internet marketing courses, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to give him a C in that category for e-commerce specifically. But yeah, so BBC, you know, blends out to me to probably a B.
Yeah, okay. You know, again, you know more about Kern than I do. I was aware of him though, so self-promotion, I mean, he's not off my radar completely, but B feels a tad high compared to some of these guys we do have coming up. So maybe I'd hedge more to like a B minus there, maybe even towards the C plus range.
Yeah, there's a recency factor here. I've been around longer, a little longer than you, and he used to be a lot more, you know, prevalent, like.
For sure. So I'm just trying to go a little bit more chalk, maybe a little bit less like personalized score here. Also, like, I mean, just the little bit I do know, I don't think his stuff is that irrelevant to e-commerce marketing. So I might actually kind of go to like the C plus, at least from what I've seen. Maybe it was just like targeted to me, but because we gave Tai Lopez a C on that as well. So I don't know. That feels a little.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, so. But that actually kind of blends out to about the same. So, you know, BBC, what I would say we're kind of at a B minus, C plus range on him. Do you feel firmly about one of those or the other?
B minus. I mean, I give him the nod. I kind of like it. You know what I mean?
Let's get it, man. Let's
Especially
get it.
because mostly I don't like internet marketers who sell internet marketing things mostly to other internet marketers, you know? So the fact that I actually do kind of like him, I definitely give him a nod, you know?
All right. All right, and the craziness continues. This is going to be interesting when we go through it at the end, like overall grades that we did. I wonder if we're actually going to like what we did. But keeping it going here now. All right, everybody's heard of this guy. Very confident in that. You love him or you hate him, and we're going to find out if we love him or hate him right now. Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V.
You go first.
Me go first. All right, this is crazy. Yeah, so again, yeah, I know Gary. Not personally. We haven't gone fishing or anything.
You and Gare.
Yeah, me and the Gare Bear stare. No, no, yeah. Again, I think everybody's heard of him. So I mean, self-promotion. I'll start there. You start at the back and go forward. I'm gonna go. This is an A. This is a slam dunk self-promoter. As far as his relevance to e-commerce marketing, man, this might be like so far the hardest thing to think about out of all of them. I'm not going to go crazy high. You know, maybe I'll let you kind of be the regulator here. I'll kind of take a wishy-washy position, but I'm going to tend to say not very good. I'm going to give him one of those token C's. We gave Tai Lopez, Frank Kern C's, maybe even C minus, honestly. Let's go C minus. I'll go C minus on that. I'm going to go A on the self-promotion. Vibe with him. Let's go D plus. Let's say, you know, I'll give him a step above Tai Lopez, maybe. I don't know, because I do get a little bit more into the rah guys than you do. Just as far as like even just entertainment wise, I'm like, there's some entertainment value that I can appreciate from Gary V here. So I think I said C minus, A, and then what did I just say on that last one? How much I vibe with him? like a D plus kind of thing, maybe, yeah, something like that. So I'm all over the boards. Let's say I'm gonna level that out to like a C,
Yeah.
maybe C minus area.
So yeah, relevancy to e-commerce. A lot of what he talks about is like mindset stuff and not marketing and stuff like that. That's mainly what brings him down. When he talks about marketing, I would say it's highly relevant to e-commerce. He got started in e-commerce. He sold wine. So like, and I think he still has that wine company. So yeah, and like when he talks about marketing, a lot of times he talks about like, I did not take as much advantage of Google ads as I should have when it was underpriced, right? So he talks about arbitrage opportunities and things that we as traffic people like really get and he understands. So yeah, I'm gonna actually give him a little bit more of a nod on e-commerce relevancy and give him like maybe a C+ there. Self-promotion, I mean, it's pretty next level when you literally just have a dude full-time who like follows you around with a camera, just in case you say something, you know, that's like, you know, Insta worthy.
I mean, that guy's not there on accident though. I'll say that to him. So that's to his own credit.
Yeah, like, but that's, I mean, like, that's kind of like really next level self-promotion when you're like, I'm just going to go throughout my day and like be like talk and like like you just film it and then we'll go through it. You can go through it afterwards and decide like if you know, or my marketing team or whatever, they can go through it afterwards and see if I said anything good. Vibe with him. I'm going to look, okay, so
I don't think you gave us something. You gave us a grade on that last one.
Oh yeah, self-promotion A. Yeah.
Okay, we're in agreement on that at least.
Yeah. Yeah, like, and this is where I almost wish there is like the US, at least the grading system here is so weird because it's like, oh yeah, like this 10% is a D, C, B, A, and then basically anything below 60% is an F. All right. So just for context here, Tai Lopez is like a 10% F for me. Like I do not vibe with him at all. Gary Vaynerchuk's probably like a 40% F. Like also an F. I do not like his content. I'm like, to me, like I don't even like hate swearing or anything like this, but like when I hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk, it's like, oh my gosh, dude. Okay, you know the F word. I get it. Like what you just said in 3 minutes, you could have said in 1 minute. Like it was 1 minute of content that you swore out to 3 minutes. Like, so like, yeah, I'm like, don't waste my time with your freaking language, man. Like, and I don't even hate swearing or anything like that, but I'm just like, it just seems, I mean, maybe he's like really like that, but to me, it seems like very like much like a persona. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I almost wish he'd be a little more genuine, but maybe that just genuinely is him, you know? And so
he kind of reminds me of like the Wolf of Wall Street guy. And like, I've seen him in a few interviews and that's him. That's that guy. Like,
yeah, but no, he's way more like calm than they made him seem in the movie. You know what I mean? Like I've seen him in stuff too. And like, he's not like, in fact, I think I've seen him with Grant Cardone in interviews and he's like way more mild than Grant Cardone. And you know, like,
I don't think that it's like a whole persona. I think it just might be like a leaning into, it's an exaggerated form of him.
People already think about him. And maybe if you saw a whole keynote from Gary Vee, he's not like that, but like, it almost seems like he's just after the sound bites, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't vibe with him. It's because I'm like, oh, you seem like you're like, basically, if you gave a keynote, this is what I would imagine it would be. You would give a keynote where you're like, how can I give 30 minutes of sizzle reels so that I have a whole bunch of social media content afterwards? But like, if I paid to go to an event and see your keynote that had like no substance at all, I'd be kind of upset. That's just me though. Some people would like it though.
So, okay, I've kind of been keeping track of our scores as we go here. I'm guessing maybe one of the critiques we have if we ever do this again, this kind of thing. So we might want to weight the different like criteria a little bit more, but let's just keep rolling with the format we've got, see how it shakes out. I've got them down as kind of a blended, like a C on that relevancy to e-commerce marketers, because I think I said C minus, you said C. Let's give them the bump there. You might have said C plus, so I blended it to a C. A, we both went A on self-promotion. I mean, hard to argue with that. He's an A there. That really raises the score. And you gave him an F. I think I was in the D range on the how much we identify with him. And you even said it was more than your previous F, so I gave him like a D minus, D kind of on that. I think he blends out to about a C. Maybe if you want to go C minus, like I think that's kind of within the range. But that A pulls him up so high, man. Like I think he's a C.
Yeah, he's a C.
Which is okay. I mean, we don't have a C yet, so the C's are now like spoken for, represented in the group. So we still yet to have an A. So Quick recap: Seth Godin was a B, Tai Lopez was a D plus, Frank Kern was a B minus. Now Gary V is a C. Next one up, this guy, man, this is another one of those. We're really heating up here. Russell Brunson.
Yeah.
So first thing comes to mind is ClickFunnels.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to bring up that platform thing at the top of the show. Is this guy is hammering the YouTube ads, and I'm watching the YouTubes. So yeah, I'll go ahead and take this one on first. That was kind of an interesting little thing we did in the last one. So let's do it again. His relevance to e-commerce marketers. I mean, this is interesting because the highest score so far of this has been somebody we kind of gave like a historical nod to, Seth Godin, where we're like not super really relevant, but like it's not like he's just kind of making stuff up that doesn't make sense. Russell Brunson, I think a lot of it makes a ton of sense. I think his whole product was built out of like a necessity for something that didn't really exist. And I still think while it has its problems, we're longtime users of ClickFunnels, it still is it's a pretty great tool to at least be familiar with for a lot of different things because it's got versatility to it. So anyway, back to Russell Brunson. It's not just about his product, but I do think his advice, I'm going to go, I have a hard time placing this, but I'm going to go B plus. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm going B plus here because of what we got coming down the pipe. Self-promotion. He is everywhere. I guess I got to be honest with that. I'll go, looking at the rest of the board, I'll go B plus on that as well, I guess. Maybe A minus. I'll be on the brink there, kind of be wishy-washy. And the vibe. Here's where I'm going to dock him. I don't vibe. I don't know. It's like hitting me over the head with a hammer. I'm going to go, but still not be too harsh here. I'm going to go like C minus, just to bring down the score quite a bit, because I don't want Russell Brunson just like so far ahead of the pack right now. So hit me with what you got, John.
If you dig into like funnel content, like ClickFunnels content, let's say, there is a lot of relevancy to e-commerce. Like a lot of e-commerce sellers sell on ClickFunnels, and some, like I personally know some people who sell on ClickFunnels. My light just fell. I personally know some people who sell on ClickFunnels who like have sold a lot of product there. So like, they've got content for those people. Russell Brunson himself doesn't talk about e-commerce a ton. So I'm going to go right in the same category as you. I'm going to say, I'm actually going to give him like a B minus on relevancy to e-commerce. Self-promotion. This is a weird one. Let's call ClickFunnels self-promotion. Okay. And not because a lot of these guys are
that's what I was doing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. A lot of these guys are kind of self-promoting a personal brand. So let's call Russell Brunson ClickFunnels self-promotion, and let's say that like I'm gonna give him a big nod here too and say, hey, they're aggressive, and they clearly, like, if it's a SaaS, which it is, it has to be working pretty well for them to be able to spend as much money as they do. They have a lot of users who are sticky, and they're able to acquire them at a like good enough rate that they're able to spend a ton against their recurring revenue, and they're aggressive, right? So I dig a company that's aggressive on their acquisition efforts. They're probably acquiring at a loss, right? They offer a 14-day free trial. Most people go to the lowest plan after that trial. Like, they're almost certainly acquiring at a loss. So yeah, I give a big nod to anyone who acquires at a loss. So I'm gonna give them an A on self-promotion for sure. Vibe, I probably vibe with him a little bit more because I've like listened to his podcast a couple times and stuff like that. And that's actually where I vibe with him. His marketing, I don't vibe with. Like, I don't like it either. I'm with you. I'm like, man, this is so guru-y for like a tool that like is good. But like, yeah, anything like that feels dirty and guru-y like turns me off. That's why I like kind of was like, I vibe with Frank Kern because his guru, as much of a like classical IM internet marketing guru as he is, he doesn't feel that way, which is great. Like,
right.
Yeah, Russell Brunson, it like feels guru-y.
I'm going to set this up for you. Based on your answer here, he could emerge as the leader so far. So, say it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give him like probably a D. If I hadn't listened to his podcast, then he'd for sure be like an F. So we give him a D. That he got points from the podcast, but even then, I'm like, I'm not like an avid listener. I didn't like it enough to listen to more than 1 or 2 episodes.
Okay, so we were both a little our blended is kind of wishy-washy, really. So it sounds like we're right in the B for his relevance. We're at I'll give him the nod on the A minus to A kind of blended we had. So an A on self-promotion, hard to argue with there. And the vibe, I mean, I thought you were going to go above me on the vibe, but you went even below me there. I was being generous, I guess, at C minus. So let's give him that D plus maybe, I guess, as it equals out. So he is BAD bad. That's literally what the scores spell. So I guess that means he blends out to like a C plus is all really.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, for a second there, I was like, he might be a B plus, but
of people we talked about so far, definitely e-commerce relevancy should be weighted more for people watching this.
I agree. But it's interesting, and who cares? If people are listening this far in, they can just weight it harder themselves on that one. Like,
okay.
If you want those scores? He's tied with Seth Godin. We've only given out B's and C's on that so far. So,
okay.
So if you really only care about that, listen to Russell Brunson and Seth Godin so far, and ignore everything else. So Russell Brunson lands at a C plus. He's right between, right above Gary V, right behind Frank Kern. That's where he's. Feels right. Feels right for what we've been doing. All right, moving along here. I don't. My phone where I keep the timer on is already like blanked out, so I don't know where we are. Let's just keep it going. We're about halfway through here. Next guy up. I'm gonna let you take this one on first, John. Neil Patel.
Neil Patel. So I'll start with I'll start at the top here. Relevancy to e-commerce. Neil Patel Neil Patel's been around for so long that he has everything in mind. And I think he even did an experiment at one point because basically Neil Patel, what he's famous for is SEO, right? If you're not familiar with Neil Patel, he's just well known for SEO, but he has a lot of different companies. He has software companies, he has an agency, an SEO agency, he has a lot of different companies. But I think he even did something at one point where he launched a blog, his whole point was to get a bunch of traffic to a blog, and the blog was for a health, a supplement, right? So it was, the ultimate goal was to get traffic that would convert to physical product sales, supplement sales. So because it's SEO, it actually has a ton of relevancy. He does fall into the trap that a lot of SEO leaders fall into, where they give a lot of tactics that are very relevant for if you're writing and doing SEO for SEO, right? Doing SEO for information marketing, if that makes sense, which isn't as relevant to e-commerce. But yeah, because it's SEO, there's a little higher relevancy. So I'm going to put him in a B minus I'm going to put him in a solid B actually on relevancy to e-commerce, because it is relevant and it's good. So and then in terms of, I totally just blanked on our next criteria.
The self-promotion.
Own self-promotion. So okay, you're probably going to dock him here, but let me make a case for him. I'm going to give him an A on self-promotion, because basically all these guys probably get A's and B's on self-promotion. We wouldn't know about them otherwise. But I'm going to give him an A on self-promotion. He ranks first, his site ranks first overall for the search term online marketing. And he's outright said this on his podcast before. He's look, I've done the ads thing where it goes ads to webinar and stuff like that. That's not what works as well for me. What works well for me is to write content and do SEO and get lots and lots and tons of organic traffic. So if you think about the actual volume of traffic this guy gets compared to all these other guys, it's not close. He gets so much more traffic than them. So from a self-promotional standpoint, hard not to give him an A when we gave Gary Vaynerchuk an A, because it's he does so much, everybody knows about him and stuff like that. It's yeah, but his traffic is probably peanuts compared to what the level of traffic Neil Patel gets. So I'm going to give him an A there on that. But maybe some of you haven't heard of him because he doesn't self-promote in the same way. Platform wise, we're not big search for blog type of guys.
Sure.
And then vibe. I actually love his vibe because it's very tactical. And this is actually common in the SEO space. I cut my teeth in SEO. A lot of the SEO bloggers, gurus, the SEO category gurus are very tactical because it's such a tactical field. And the only they're actually trying to rank high organically. And the only way to do that is to be very tactical in that, because all the other people you're competing with are very tactical. So because Neil Patel comes from that school, everything he does is very tactical. When he does ads on Facebook, it's super tactical. Every blog he writes is like, he writes a lot of highly valuable blog posts, and his podcast is like super tactical. Like, and I'm like, I mean, if I were to say even relevancy to e-commerce, like, yeah, if you go listen to his podcast, a lot of it isn't about e-commerce, but it's going to be highly relevant because he basically does this podcast called Marketing School, where I'm like pushing his podcast here on our podcast. Like, they're 5-minute episodes, and they legit hit, like, I think they launch one every day, and they just go over like different tactics. Some of them are not relevant at e-commerce at all, but with that many at bats, like, there's going to be stuff that's relevant to you. So yeah, like Vibe, I dig that he's like trying to put tons of value out there. So I'm going to give him an A on Vibe. He's the first A on Vibe for me. Most of them I do not vibe with. So I've got him at what? Like basically a blended A.
Yeah, basically maybe like an A minus, or maybe B plus, depending on that. That B minus really kind of pulls it down, but got it up here for now. Exercise isn't over yet, but first, message specifically to Neil. John just shouted out your podcast, so I expect you to do the same for us. Okay? All right. So I think I agree. This guy is going to emerge as the leader. I'm pretty confident so far, because yeah, I think he might be the first guy we both kind of wanted on this list without really having to like talk about it a lot. We both kind of had this guy on our radar in a big way. So, it's weird now looking at your whole score. I'm trying not to like juice up the score or play with it too much. But the B minus on relevancy to e-marketing, that feels kind of weird. That feels kind of low to me. Like I get all the stuff you said, but and maybe it's like our approach to e-commerce. Like historically, I was a little bit more like well-rounded. Like lead generation is huge, and even how you rank. It's like, I mean, I feel like that should be a B.
Especially after what I said about the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, actually I've got a lot of like tactical things that are pretty relevant to e-commerce from the podcast. So, but
yeah, I think it's a good note. So yeah, I'm not just trying to manipulate the score at all, but I'm going to go like B plus so we can round that out to a B at least, because maybe he even deserves higher than that. I'm cool with being the B plus there, but his score isn't going to need any help lifting up here. So yeah, I'll go with a B plus. We'll average that out to a B for the relevancy. How good is their self-promotion? Yeah, you were probably right. I wouldn't probably gone as high as you, maybe A minus. But again, we're kind of on that A minus A brink there. So we'll see what we need here.
A note there, I bet you would have gone much lower had I not made the case that I made.
Well, the first thing, I did a quick Google search of most of these people as soon as we kind of did land on this list. And I realized he has a lot more going on than I was aware of. So, because, yeah, he's in a lot of different veins for a lot of stuff. And he's very current, So in that look, I mean, you see him and you're like, there he is, that guy. Like a couple of the guys are like that, which specifically one I'm thinking of later. But let's keep moving here. Yeah, so where am I? I'm at how much we vibe with them? Yeah, again, I can't disagree. I think vibe is where we land exactly the same. I'm going to go straight up A there. So we've got like a B, A minus, and then A kind of blended. So I think we go A minus on Neil Patel here.
Okay, yeah. He blends out to an A minus. I thought he'd blend out to an A, but yeah, all right.
Well, he's breaking the A barrier. I mean, we can go A. That's where we are.
He's a high A minus. You know what I mean? Like he's a cusper.
He's a 93er, like 92.5er almost.
Yeah,
If we gave him 93, I think we got to take away the minus. So
I think it's like 92.49 because 92.5 you got to round up or whatever.
That's fair. Yeah. I think we've narrowed it down to 100th of a point on point system that we didn't even have 30 seconds ago. So pretty good. All right. So yeah, I'll give him that extra. No, I'm going to go officially in our sheet here. I'm going to go A minus / A, blend it out. We'll see maybe where we want him in our rankings when things are all said and done. All right, moving along here. Got to speed up a touch before this turns into like a year-long episode. Lots of good stuff here, though. Next guy up. I think we might go fast through him. Billie Jean. This is for all you geniuses out there.
You go.
I'll go full bore here. Before I was in marketing professionally, Billie Jean was on my radar then. Like he just kind of wiggled his way in there. I don't know how, but I'll say this about him is just kind of a little backstory if you're not aware of him. He's very theatrical. He's a talker. I think he has a background in actually like in sales, like telephone sales. So I mean, you watch like 30 seconds of him talking, you're like that checks out. Like he's a good talker. He's got a lot of like really visual stuff going on in all of his ads that I've seen. I'll get into the grading here. We don't need to go so much in the background. If you don't know him, go look him up. Okay, relevancy to e-commerce marketing. Now I don't want to go too high here. It's weird. I'm just looking at the sheet how we kind of graded things out so far, but I'd put him probably at like a C plus, I guess. Like I want to say he's got some principles that make a lot of sense. I've even seen some tactical stuff where I'm like, it's not irrelevant. So I'll go C plus here. I'll let you kind of be the equalizer on that one. For self-promotion, I mean, I'm going A again. I think you're right. I think all these guys are either an A or a B. But yeah, I mean, he's an A there. We've yet to give out an A plus in anything, by the way. But I'm not gonna break that on this either. So and how much we vibe with them, again, this is gonna be that weird little lift that this guy's gonna get from me that I anticipate he won't get from you. But similar to the Gary V thing, you might go F here, I have a sense. But I don't want him to blend out to an F here. We gave Gary V that blended D minus because of what I give him. So I'm gonna go like, you know, because somehow I was aware of him before, I kind of do like what he's picking. I'm picking up what he's laying down. But yeah, a lot of it.
Don't be ashamed. Just lean into it. Give him an A.
No, I wasn't gonna go that high. I wasn't gonna go that high.
Okay. It's okay. I won't judge you. We can still
No, not at all. I'm not gonna go A here. But I am picking up what he's laying down a little bit, and I appreciate the showmanship. All right, because that's where I'm going with the vibe of this. Not necessarily the content, but the showmanship. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go B minus on the vibe. That puts him, you know, a step below even like Frank Kern, where we blended out on him. So I'll let you be the equalizer on this. I think we could see wildly different scores, and the blending is going to be real interesting. So, John, without further ado, how do you feel about Billie Jean?
Yeah, relevancy to ecom. Oh, I'll start with vibe. I don't love it. Like, I remember. So here's the thing. I have to give him bonus points somewhere, because like you and I wouldn't be working together if it weren't for Billie Jean.
That's true. I
you
guess
would not have gotten into this. Like you started running ads for some affiliate thing, and then
it was like because of Billie Jean. You're right. Kind of.
I know. So it's like I got to give him bonus points somewhere. So his vibe is definitely an F for me, but I'm gonna bonus him up to a D because we work together now because of Billie Jean. So yeah,
I'll even say this: one of his tactics
for him because of that. Sorry, go ahead.
One of his tactics has kind of captured my attention. He got me with that angle of like, of course my marketing works. You're here. Like I got you here, didn't I? I'm like, that checks out, especially when you don't have any other reference points. You're like, I think that's what marketing is all about, actually. Yeah. Like, yeah. No,
exactly.
Sorry. You were at D on the vibe.
Yeah, no, and it's funny when you told me that, I'm like, yeah, that's, you know, pretty played out angle. A lot of people say that. But yeah, no, it's so like that kind of stuff is what makes him like an F in real vibe for me, but I'm bonusing him to a D because like the hook, right? The hook got your attention. So let's go to self-promotion. His hooks are probably the best in the internet marketing game. Game has to respect game, even though I don't vibe with his hooks. I don't like his hooks. His hooks are probably the best in at least the paid advertising. I'm gonna dock him here because I've seen a lot of his ads. I mean, it could be that he's aggressive because of his hooks and because his hooks are so good. But on like the targeting, frequency capping, that kind of thing side of his strategy, I'm gonna dock him because essentially somebody who doesn't vibe with him at all and has shown it time and time again has seen a lot of his ads. And yeah, so I'm gonna dock him here because he's wasting. I imagine if it's me, there's others too, you know, he's wasting money on people, but maybe he doesn't care. He's just scaling hard, right? I do respect that, but I'm going to dock him actually down to a B on self-promotion. I'm actually going to go B minus on self-promotion for him. And then relevancy to e-commerce. So big relevancy thing is what I just said, hooks. We don't think about this at all in e-commerce. We're just like, product here, do you want it? Like, here's a phone case, you want to buy it? Like think about hooks, think about avatars. Like I just want to hit a concept here really quick that and this could happen to anybody, right? And many of these gurus have done this same thing to someone else. Billie Jean just happened to do it to you. He took somebody who was not aware of internet marketing or in the unawareness stage and made them made them launch an ad on Facebook, right? Like so think about hooks, like think about that in as it pertains to your product. Like if you're selling this phone case, how do you take someone who doesn't care at all about buying a phone case, they're definitely not in the market, whatever, they've got a phone case or they don't put a case on their phone or whatever, take somebody in that stage, think about them enough to relate to them, and then come up with a hook that will grab them within their context, right? Like you can't just say phone case, they're like, yeah, not relevant to me, not what I'm about. Like, but if you say the right thing for where they are and you know them well enough. So yeah, avatars and angles, I'm going to give him like a big bonus because of that principle. I don't think he talks about a lot of e-commerce stuff.
Right.
So relevancy to e-commerce like would probably be a C, but I'm actually going to bonus him here and give him a B.
Wow.
Actually, I'll go B minus again. So B minus, D for me.
All right. So we've got, this is easily the hardest one to blend out. So I think blending our scores together, we land like between grades on all of them, including pluses and minus. So let's break the ties quick. So on relevancy to e-commerce, we're somewhere in like the C plus B minus range. Do you feel super strongly about one or the other there?
I mean, I said B minus, so like, yeah, C plus.
No, let's give him the B minus then. Let's give him the B minus.
Not strong. I'm not strong. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then the next one.
I don't feel strongly about either is what I mean.
I get you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next one, let's leave that one as it is for now. Self-promotion, we're in like the B plus range blended out. I think we should give him the nod on that one. So maybe we take away the nod on another one here. So let's go B plus there. And then the last one, how much we vibe with him. Kind of surprised where that ended up, but we're at C minus kind of range, C minus, C range.
Yeah.
So maybe let's
C, B plus, B, or C, B plus, C plus sounds right to me.
Yep, that's exactly what I was just going to suggest. So C plus, B plus, C, which, okay, hold on. In live time here, that blends out
to C plus, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're not waiting. We're not waiting.
B minus.
Yeah.
Or B minus, yeah. Just for reference, we have nobody in. C plus, we have Russell Brunson. So,
yeah, give him a B minus. I'll give him a nod over Russ.
Eat that, Russ. Sorry.
The funny thing is, like, we've given Russ so much money. Like, we're long-time users of the product.
That's fair. All right, so we've got he's right there with Frank Kern. That kind of feels, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's
next
like,
up.
yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there. Next up, interesting guy. We'll see what happens here. I want to let you take this one on first because I wouldn't be aware of him if it weren't for you. So Ryan Dice.
Yeah. Ryan Dice is the first one that I'm going to give a straight A to in relevancy to e-commerce. He doesn't specifically talk about e-commerce, but here's the difference. Many of the people on this list are selling courses, consulting, they're not selling e-commerce. Like they don't think about how average order values are often lower, lifetime values are often lower, and margins are often worse in e-commerce, right? So they're like, it's all about like one main product, and stuff like that. So like, but Ryan Dice has sold e-commerce products. He has been a major like player in e-commerce brands. So his advice takes it into account. And just generally, it's like, no matter what you're selling, his advice is an A in relevancy. It's relevant to you no matter what. It's an A. So yeah, he's the first A in relevancy to e-commerce to me. And like, I'll go ahead and give him, if anything, he gets docked on self-promotion, but we have to give it to digital marketer, not Ryan Dice. We gave ClickFunnels to Russell Brunson.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So digital marketer, they've probably tapered off in the last couple years. They were probably there was a time where, you couldn't get away from digital marketer even more so than ClickFunnels. So they've probably tapered off where ClickFunnels has gotten more aggressive, but probably, maybe we'll give them B plus on that for that taper. And then vibe, like you guys can probably sense it. Like Ryan Dice is actually my Billie Jean, right? Like he was one of the ones that got me into this. I was already in it. I was like the marketing director for somewhere, but I had no idea how to sell things online. And like I will put it this way. the training that digital marketer puts out there, like, again, I'm like pushing something, right? The training that digital marketer puts out there, I'm super lucky that that was what I came across and vibed with. So yeah, I'm an A+ on my vibe with Ryan Deiss.
Yeah, man. Honestly, the way you stepped through that, I have no issues with any of it. I was actually going to go give the first A+ on the vibe as well. I'll work backwards in John fashion here. B+ was the only place I was going to maybe dock him, because maybe in that time where you were talking about where they were really killing it, I wasn't quite as in kind of the marketing atmosphere, you might say. And then yeah, an A. I mean, we're in complete agreement on this, and I think that blends out to our first real hard A. Like,
true A.
Yeah, true A. Gonna be tough to beat.
Deiss takes the lead over Neil Patel.
And that's exactly what I'm looking at. And I'm like, Neil Patel's an A-. That's just how it is now. Ryan Deiss just knocked him down a peg while asserting himself at the top of the list. Gonna be tough to beat. That's only one place you can go from there, and it would take, I mean, at least like 2 A+s probably, right? Like, to do that.
2 A+ and an assisting A, right? Like,
yeah. All right. So, I'm liking this format where you go first a little bit more, honestly. So I'm going to let you go first on the last two. We can take them one at a time still. But this first guy, yeah, I mean, his last name's a really awesome, like, household appliance. So maybe some bonus points for that. Sam Ovens. John, what do you think?
Yeah. Relevancy to e-commerce. He gets a poor grade here. So most of them have like principles you can take and give and like apply to e-commerce. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's worse. Like he's specific, and it's not like it's by design. I think he specifically kind of says like his like shtick is that like I have one offer, like one high ticket offer. You know what I mean? So it's like not super relevant to e-commerce unless you sell like one $10,000 product or $20,000 product or something like that. So yeah, relevancy to e-commerce. I'm actually going to give him like a below average grade here. I'm going to give him a D. Like how good is his self promotion? They're aggressive. So like I love being aggressive, and I kind of gave Billie Jean a knock for this, but like really I'm giving him a knock because he's very aggressive and spending a lot of money on someone. It's like, okay, like you should be frequency capping him out, or you should be like clearly not into it, right? Mm-hmm. But like he just keeps at it. Like Sam Ovens, I definitely haven't given that signal. Like I think I've even clicked on some of their stuff. I've watched some of his videos, stuff like that. So yeah, they're like I respect people who go hard on paid traffic, and Sam Ovens definitely does. So I'm going to give him a B here. I don't think his material is the best. I don't know, like some of his hooks, maybe I haven't seen some of his best hooks, but like for someone who goes so aggressive, I'd love to see more like Billie Jean level hooks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm going to give him a B. So I'm solid D, solid B, and then vibe. I'm very neutral on his vibe. C, like solid C. Yeah, straight C. I'm very neutral on his vibe. I don't care one way or the other, which is maybe you almost give that a fail a little bit, because it's like, yeah, if nothing else, you should make me like love or hate you. You know, that's there's no one that's been a solid C on vibe, right? They at least make me either love or hate them usually.
Yeah, I've only kept track of the blended scores after we've given it, so I can't even back that up. But yeah, okay, so this is interesting. I mean, I think we're gonna disagree a little bit here, just on certain things. Yeah, the relevancy, not real high. I mean, I might go like as high as like I might go to like a D+. Like, so we got some wiggle room on like whether we want to go D or D+, kind of blended. I was thinking maybe even C-, but the more I think about it, it doesn't sit quite right. Maybe. Okay, moving on to self-promotion. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the platform thing again, because yeah, I've seen a lot of him. You said he leans into paid a lot. Definitely seen my share of Sam Ovens ads, and I would go the over, at least on your B. So I hate that I'm kind of doing this now, where I'm just kind of trying to adjust your scores, but I'll say I'm the over. I'll go B+. Yeah, maybe not to the A- range, but to the B+. And then kind of the same thing here. I'm just kind of the elevator right now of Sam Ovens, I guess. Like, it's heating up. The thermometer's rising right now. The vibe, I don't know, man. I guess I have seen some of those hooks maybe that you're alluding to, but the vibe is cool. Like, when you watch, you're like, that guy's cool. Like,
yeah, that is what he's after.
I think the
he's going for
vibe,
that guy's cool vibe.
I think the vibe is a very versatile grading system, because when it came to like Ryan Dice and that A+, I'm like, that's because I vibe with the material a lot, like what he's saying. But in like the Billie Jean kind of example, that's where I am with Sam Ovens kind of here, where I'm like, I kind of vibe with the showmanship. I appreciate what you're putting out there, man. I would maybe go about it the same way in your situation. So I vibe in that way. So I'm gonna go B on the vibe. Like, so that's a big elevator there. We can give the other ones the.
All right. So what do you think we should be blended out to here? I'll tell you if I think it sounds right.
Yeah. So I mean, we're at the highest, we'd be at like a D+, like B, and like a C+, B-.
So probably C+.
I mean, let's land on some here. So let's go.
Yeah. So total blended out, we'd probably be at like a C+.
Let's go D+, B, B-. So yeah, somewhere in the like C+ range, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's a contemporary in that C+ range?
It'll be Russell Brunson is the only other C+ we have.
Yeah, I put him a step below Russ.
All right, let's downgrade one of those things here, and boom, he's a C now. All right, I like our very loose grading system.
Yeah, we're grading on a curve for sure.
You know what? We came up pretty high with Seth Godin at the B already. I was like, do we have room to go up here, really? And we figured it out since then. All right. Run to anchor here. Last leg of the race. Got Ezra Firestone. John, you know a lot more about Ezra than I do. I'm definitely aware. So this is a guy who potentially has the potential to have a high score, let's say. So can he contend? Let's find out.
Okay, first up, well, should I go backwards? No, I'll go forwards. Okay, relevancy to e-commerce, A+, 99, like as high of a grade as you can possibly get. I'll tell you what, Ezra makes most of his revenue in e-commerce, right? He has, I believe, he has kind of the trifecta of businesses. He has a SaaS business, he has an info business, and he has an e-commerce business. His e-commerce business is in the mid 8 figures. So he makes most of his money from e-commerce, and in his info business and SaaS business both serve e-commerce operators. So his info business is Zipify, is like a page builder and a one-click upsell tool. His info business, Smart Marketer. It's not just e-commerce businesses; it's all marketers, but a very heavy e-commerce influence in Smart Marketer because of Ezra, because that's his like roots, and because they know many of the people who follow Smart Marketer are e-commerce marketers, operators, advertisers, things like that. So relevancy to e-commerce from Ezra Firestone. If you look at any Zipify material, any Zipify webinars, anything like that, definitely like strong material there. And anything Ezra has to say, like e-commerce, definitely highly relevant. How good is his own self-promotion? So remember, we're umbrellaing the people under their brands. What I don't think we should do here is umbrella him under his e-commerce brand. So his e-commerce brand is Boom by Cindy Joseph. So Cindy Joseph is the personal brand associated with that. So we can't umbrella him there, but let's umbrella him under his software brand and education brand. So Smart Marketer and Zipify. And yeah, their paid is good, and they work hard on it, and they like do a lot of, and because they build in public and because they educate through Smart Marketer, they kind of have to like try and be ahead of the curve and innovate, and they do even on Boom as well. But yeah, like I will say that it's strong, but it's not the strongest. I think one of the main like self-promotional hooks he has going on is his look, honestly. Like he has a very significant look. It's less significant now. Like when he first was doing this look, it was super significant. Now it's like more people kind of look like this. But yeah, like I don't know, self-promotion, most, like we said, most of these guys A's and B's. I'm gonna put him in the B, right? Like he's not like one of the A self-promoters for sure, but B, B minus, you know. So A plus on relevancy, B, B minus on self-promotion. I'll put it this way. Many people who are watching this maybe didn't know about him and are like just now learning he's the most relevant person for them. So yeah, B, B minus there. And then vibe. I do vibe with him, but definitely not like I do with Ryan Dice. I would give him probably an A minus on vibe, maybe a B plus, somewhere in there.
Okay. Yeah. Just to recap here, you had an A plus on his relevancy and self-promotion. You said a B, straight B?
B, B minus.
B, B
I kind
minus.
of cusped him on a few because I said like A or B, B minus, and then I said like B plus A minus on vibe.
Okay. I think that's fair. And yeah, cat out of the bag. I'll start in the middle, just weirdly. But this was the other guy I was alluding to when we were talking about Neil Patel with the self-promotion. I'm like, I know this shouldn't count, but it does. The look, you know, again, this was the guy I was saying only more than Neil Patel. Like you recognize this guy when you see him. You're like, yep, that's Ezra, huh? Okay. So I'd actually maybe go a little higher. I mean, does have a smart marketer podcast. I think I've heard clips of it. I don't know if I've watched a whole episode before, to be honest. But have you watched that one?
Yeah, I think I've gotten like an episode of the Smart Marketer podcast, and it is so for again relevancy to e-commerce. Like, yeah, Smart Marketer is a great spot for e-commerce.
Right. So I mean, that kind of makes me want to actually give him a little boost, or at least the tie break on the high side on his self promotion, which was B minus range. I say let's at least give him that B on this blended. I would maybe even make the case for a B plus, but again, I think it's going to have a plenty high score here. Let's see what happens. So can't argue with the relevancy being an A plus. Again, those are like, we've been pretty stingy with those, but I think the two places we've landed with the A pluses, they feel real good. All the points you said, I don't need to go into that anymore. A plus there. Just to mention, we said it about Russell Brunson's product. Longtime users of the Zipify products. So love how those work. It's one of my favorite page builders. So good stuff there. Okay, last one here. We've got Vibe. And I'm right in agreement with you on this too. Like this one, the B plus A minus kind of thing. I'm like it. You know, we gave that A plus to Ryan Dice, and part of it is because we've consumed so much of his content, or at least that's why I felt so confident in like doubling down on that. And Ezra, I'm not quite there on the volume, but can't disagree with much I've heard.
I actually put it this way: I've consumed a lot of Ezra content, and so that's pretty solidified grade range for me. Whereas like I've consumed a lot of Ryan Dice content, and it's like, oh yeah, that only raises it. With Ezra content, it's like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, like I vibe with him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go A minus there on him, I think he would blend out pretty favorably, but he'd blend out to about an A minus. So
right in there with Neil Patel.
Right there with Neil Patel, and that kind of feels right. So we're good there. I think we sealed the deal. You want to do a little recap here?
Yeah. Well, hit us with our order.
Our podium. Okay. I apologize if I make any mistakes here, but I'll. Okay. Number one over. Oh, let's go backwards.
Okay.
Coming in at 10th overall. Let me look for the lowest one here. I see one D plus. That looks like the bottom of the barrel. Tai Lopez. Thanks for playing. You finished
right. Yeah.
You finished 10 out of 10. Yeah, that feels right.
You finished 20th.
By the way, no disrespect. Obviously, this guy is like.
I know. Yeah, not for us.
I mean, he's got a nice house and nice cars and stuff. So like,
according to his ads, yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. All right. 10th place. Tai Lopez. Thanks for playing. Moving on up. I see one C.
Two C's.
Two C's, exactly. Yeah, so we got a tie for 8th place, I guess you'd say. That would be Gary V and Sam Ovens. And that feels kind of right. I feel like we're all right on that. Okay, cool. All right. Nothing else to say about that. Cool. Couple cool personalities. I want to say something about everybody. All right, moving up now. Who got 7th place? So I see one C plus. Is that all? Yeah, one C plus. Yep. So we got Russell Brunson in sole possession of 7th place. Not bad. Pretty good, dude. That's not a good thing.
Good on this list, you know, like it's a heavy hitter list.
Yeah. You know, top 7. Okay. So moving on up.
It looks like we got a tie for fifth.
Yeah, 2 B minuses, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, tie for fifth. Billie Jean and Frank Kern.
Again, that's right.
Feel pretty good about this list. You know, I think we started kind of waiting a little bit on our own, kind of hedging a little bit to flush things out as we saw data kind of collect. So, all right, we're entering the top 4 now. Let's see. Let me know if you get there first.
Sole possession of fourth place.
Yep. Lead off batter too. Seth Godin. All right. Yeah. I mean, that one, I'll be completely honest. He's probably the one I was least aware of. Yeah. So does that feel right to you?
I mean, if I'm, yeah, exactly. So like if I'm Frank Kern or who's our other B minus, Billie Jean.
Yep.
Like the rest of the guys on this list, like that's good company to come in behind them. You know what I mean? So
I'm glad that a guy who I wasn't aware of pretty much at all didn't finish in our top 3 though. He's not getting a podium finish. That feels good.
Yes, that feels good.
Yep. So yeah, that's good. We actually have a real top 3. We don't have any ties, at least outside of that. So wait, let's see what we got before
we have a tie for second and third, right?
We got to break this tie. We got to break this tie.
Okay. So it's just pure judgment on breaking the tie.
Yeah. So just for everybody. So we're talking about Neil Patel and Ezra Firestone. They should be tied a second, but I don't want to tie on the podium.
Here's how I propose we break the tie.
I said we say it on the count of 3.
Okay.
Who we think?
Yeah.
First name? First name.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Ezra. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something about it. That feels right.
And then it was, I'll tell you what it was. Because we already said we would rate relevancy to e-commerce higher.
That's true. Yeah.
Rate higher. So yeah.
Yeah, and we did give him that A+. Like that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we got third place Neil Patel coming up with a bronze medal. Oh, boy, Neil. Ezra Firestone, a silver medal. Very nice. And speaking of nice, rhymes with nice, Ryan Dice, gold medal. That was awful. But digital marketers, Ryan Dice, makes a lot of sense for like our own like subjective rankings. We've done a lot of digital marketer stuff. We really subscribe to their way of thinking, their school. You know, I'm pretty happy that he landed at the top. Had a feeling he might, but I really thought Ezra was going to be some competition too. So how do you feel, man, about our final rankings? Ryan Dice, you know, Neil Patel, Ezra Firestone. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I think we landed on it dead on. Like I actually, that exact order we went through, I'm like, that's the exact order I would put him in personally if you weren't here at all. Actually, that's not true. Billie Jean would be lower if it were me. So this was a good balance between the two of us. Yep.
I was just gonna ask you if there are any surprises to you here.
Yeah, Billie Jean being in the same like tied with Frank Kern, a little bit of a surprise to me. But like again, I bonused him because I wouldn't be working with you if it weren't for Billie Jean. So I gotta respect the guy.
Good stuff. I appreciate it. I guess if I'm fishing here for a little extra commentary on it. My surprises, I guess I can't say Seth Godin isn't a surprise because I didn't know who he was an hour ago or a little over an hour ago, maybe. And then the other surprise who I assumed you were higher on and I would be the one dragging him down, but it was kind of the opposite way, is Sam Ovens. I was higher than you on every grading.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think maybe I have a little more insight into him, and
sure.
So much of it. Let me give him a caveat. Let me give Sam Ovens a caveat here, because you're more open-minded to, like, especially as you get into this industry, you're more open-minded to these people early on. And so probably I weigh a little bit heavier for some of those people I got exposed to early on, and you just become more skeptical and jaded because there's just so many like shysters out there, you know, in this industry. And so Sam Ovens certainly isn't one of those, but the reason I'm like not full like Sam Ovens school, and the reason probably I'm not fully in the Billie Jean school, is because they caught me when I was, they came into the game, or, you know, or emerged when I was in that more jaded phase. So it's like, you know, he was probably DOA on getting onto the podium for me, you know?
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. And he wasn't a podium contender by any means, even for me, but I was surprised for that. So I'll have that as my surprise, my biggest surprise. Guys, if you were surprised, go ahead and first like this video, but drop us a comment about who your biggest surprise was. If you think there should have been a different order of these guys, please let us know. We'd love to know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who was snubbed from this list? Like, I mean, to be fair to us, we threw it together in about 10 minutes. So I have a feeling we missed some people, if I'm being honest. I mean, some big names.
For sure we did.
I mean, obviously we did. So yeah, let us know who you think I snubbed. We can do this again. Whatever we want to do. It's all in our hands. All right. So we won't keep it going. John, I don't know how to set you up here. Do you want a parting shot on this one?
Yeah, I will, because this is actually a really good subject of like, who do you listen to and who do you like?
Modern commerce. Too.
Yeah, well, first of all, listen to us, modern commerce. Like, because I'm big on this. Like, I actually think I speak publicly. I give it, but I'm big on being a practicer and like a master of the craft of like marketing for e-commerce specifically, or just digital marketing, right? Like I'm big on not being just a speaker, not being just a guru. So like, that's kind of my parting shot is like, look, most of these guys at this point, they're not practitioners of marketing anymore, not by their own fault. Their companies have gotten too big and they have to be the CEO. But you can tell which ones, like the company, like their philosophy and their take has like permeated the company, and the company practices what they preach, right? And like there's several I'd give a nod to, and then you can tell when that like isn't the case too. You know what I mean? So yeah, like that's it. It's just, who you listen to is really important, because there is so many shysters in this space. Honestly, anyone on this list, other than maybe the person who got 10th, like they're probably a good person to follow, listen to, gain some wisdom from. They're not a faker by any means, but we definitely weighted this in a way where the practitioners and the people with like very relevant knowledge to e-commerce operators and business owners and e-commerce marketers are at the top of the list. So yeah, I mean, it's a valuable episode, because like who you follow matters. Like it shaped the way that we practice, honestly.
Nice, good parting shot, man. All right, everybody. So on behalf of John and myself and my fake little tree light here, we'll see ya.